Here are some of the announcements that caught my eye in June in the hope that I can share with you something you guys might have missed. They come around fast, don't they? And there may be a few surprises in this list for you, so let's get started. Automotive modelling isn't really my thing, but I can appreciate a cool looking car. And the race at Bathurst here in Australia is a bit of an institution in this country and something I grew up watching every year. The next subject is a release from Hasegawa, and it's the Nissan Skyline GTR, and it's the car that won the race in 1991, and it was of course driven by Jim Richards and Mark Skaife. This is a bit of a nostalgia trip for me, and of course this is a limited edition release, so if this is something you like, I would get onto it reasonably quick. It's just a nice piece of Australian road racing history. Tamiya's F35 range has been extremely popular, with a lot of us adding these things to our stashes. The F35 is so widely used and I think is such an attractive airframe, so I can truly see the appeal of this subject. Cashing in on this popularity, Aries, or Quickboost if you like, have released a couple of upgrade sets for the 72nd scale version of this Tamiya release. They have released upgrades for the nozzles. There's an open and a closed version, as well as a ladder accessory for the pilot. I guess these upgrades were only a matter of time because Aries have been producing upgrade sets for the 48th scale Tamiya kits. Following on from their Yamato release last year, Border Models continues their venture into the world of Japanese warships, and they've announced the release of the Kongo, as well as the Takeo. From all accounts, that Yamato was considered an excellent release in that 1/350th scale in the battleship category, particularly for its combination of modern engineering with highly detailed components. Included in that kit were 3D parts, etch and metal barrels, as well as internal structures on the three main gun turrets. So you'd like to think these new releases from Border would be delivering a similar sort of a package. I have had a bit of a love-hate relationship with Border Models in the past, but hopefully now they're finding their stride and the nautical modeler in us all can sink our teeth into these new releases. And another manufacturer I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with, and that's FC Model Trend. I love the unique subjects they release and announce, but I find sometimes their scaling and execution can be very hit and miss. So I'm really hoping this new release fire support vehicle conversion doesn't fall into that miss category. For many years, the only game in town was the 1979 release of the Tamiya fire support vehicle. And as you'd expect for something that old, it was fairly light on detail and accuracy. The M113 fire support vehicle is a uniquely Australian vehicle, which explains the appeal to me. This vehicle saw a Saladin turret mounted on the top of an M113 and was used during the Vietnam War to support Australian and New Zealand troops. Fellow Aussie modeler Black Hat Scale Models is using a 16th scale conversion kit of theirs to produce his own fire support vehicle, so if you're interested, be sure to check out his channel. You can't go wrong with a German half-track, and although this version of half-track has been produced many times by many different manufacturers, I think a new boxing is always welcomed. And of course, I'm talking about the STUKA ZU Fuss from Snowman Model. The engine detail looks really nice, as does the framing along the side that hold those rockets. The half-track is one of those vehicles that gives us the opportunity as modelers to clearly display the interior as well as the exterior, which is something that we don't often get to do given we usually close it up and hide it behind hatches. I believe the initial run of these kits will include 2 metal projectiles to fit in your rocket frames on the side, so that gives us early adopters an opportunity to get something a little bit special. Snowman Model often collaborate with Takom, so I assume that that is the case again with this release. The initial release of these Meng Phantoms were praised for offering a compelling balance of detail, buildability, and value. And whilst not as detailed as the Zokimura kits, they were well received and build into a beautiful model of this iconic brutish jet. This one is an example from the Turkish Air Force and is unique to the other boxings in that it represents updates to that specific aircraft, as well as a specialised weapon set, and it comes with the NATO 70th anniversary markings. This will be a solid kit and a must for all you Phantom tragics out there. And I know you're out there. Meng make the list again with this early war French World War I communications radio tank. There are around 188 subjects of this very vehicle produced between 1918 and 1919. This model will use the base kit of the FT17 that Meng released quite some time ago now and provide you with upgrade parts to create this unique little subject. It's the same concept they announced with their Kübelwagen a few months ago with the half track and the skids on the front wheels. I really like that Meng are expanding on the range that they've got and introducing something new and different with these aftermarket upgrades included in the box, if you like. This kit was released some time ago for the Japanese market, so it's great to see it finally getting boxed and becoming available to us here in the Western world. Now, I've snuck this one in just because I think it's such a beautiful looking helicopter, and it is the AH-1W Super Cobra from Trumpeter. This is a rebox, although it is a newly tooled kit from 2025, so I'm happy to regard it as a new kit still. This boxing comes with different decals for the US Marine Corps, but the thing I like about this release is the scale. It comes in 1/35. 1/35 ties in beautifully, obviously, to the armour scales, but more than that, it just gives us so many more options when it comes to sourcing figures to pose with these models, which is why I really like that 35th scale. It's a sweet looking subject. You're just going to have to make sure you leave room in your display case for the blades. Takom wings, who'd have thought? I love their armour models for the most part.
Well played, Weasel.
So I'm sure I'm going to love their aircraft. Hot on the heels of their Horton release, Takom have announced the Henschel HS129, B2 and B3 versions in 48 scale. The HS129 was a German World War II ground attack aircraft known for its armoured design and anti-tank capabilities. I guess that's the thing that kind of drew me into this plane. In particular, that B3 version of this aircraft has that huge 75mm gun protruding at the front of the aircraft. Absolutely brutal. The kit comes with a fully detailed cockpit and interior, and it also comes with clear parts so you can show them off. I think the clear parts are a bit gimmicky, but it may appeal to some. Similarities have been highlighted online with this release being similar to the Zokimura Super Wing series, but Takom's design approach is a little more accessible. What I mean by that is it's still a beautifully detailed model, it's just not as complex as some of the Zokimura kits can be. It's fair to say Takom are channeling the Super Wing series spirit with a slightly more modeler-friendly execution. One of my all-time favourite planes due to the technology, the shape, the look, the capability is the B2 bomber, which is why I'm drawn to this release, and that's the B21 Raider. The Raider is a smaller aircraft, I know, but there is no denying the bloodline from the B2 to the B21. It's hard to believe the B2 first flew in 1989, and now we're seeing this transition from the B2 to the B21. And Modelcollect have announced their kit of this subject in 72nd scale. The B21 Raider is superior to the B2 in many ways, probably apart from the payload that it can deliver. Its engines are fully buried, unlike the B2, which means it emits a far lower radar infrared signature. This plane is so far ahead of its time, and it's as beautiful as it is deadly. And I can't wait to tackle the challenge of trying to paint a black plane. Takom have been rumoured to be considering this subject. How much truth is in that, I have no idea. But Modelcollect are leading the charge here, releasing this in 70-second scale, as I mentioned. How accurate is it going to be? Who knows? So many details around this aircraft are still classified. So I'll be jumping on this one. I might end up with a completely inaccurate B-21 in the cabinet in 10 years time, but I don't care. So what do you guys think? Do you agree with my picks? Did I miss something? As always, I'd love to know, so please let me know in the comments down below. And if I've added some value today, please give us a like because it helps me so much with growing this channel. Shout out again to my amazing Patreons whose work I love to share with you guys. I'm sharing that on the screen right now. I'm arranging a catch-up on Zoom with my killer kangaroos this week, so if that is something that you would like to be part of in the future, I've left a link down below to Patreon. Please check it out and please feel free to join in. The gallery airbrush I announced a few weeks ago is still yet to be claimed. Come on, Richard Wesson, where are you? If your mates are out there, they'd want to give you a kick under the table because this airbrush is waiting to be given away. Please get in contact with me, mate, because I need to get it out of my hair.
We don't even have any hair!
And don't forget that generous 13% discount Gallery have offered the Workbench Hobbies community. I've left details down below. There's also an Amazon link down there now so you can purchase through that platform. It's a different discount code, so make sure you check the notes below. Lots coming up, guys, so be sure you stay tuned. I've got a terrific airbrush review coming up, some primer reviews, and of course the build videos as always. So remember, guys, this is the greatest hobby in the world. Share it with your family and share it with your friends, and let's be proud of what we do. Until next time, I'll see you soon. From all accounts, that Yamato release was considered a standout in 135th. From all releases, oh geez, it's because I got limited battery. I'm worried it's going to run out. I'm putting pressure on myself.